Hello, this is Carson Cook, your CSO Pro, and welcome to the channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss any of our future uploads. Enjoy the video. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. Welcome to the CSO Pro, and today we're going to talk about something that's very, very important, and it's going to be how to deliver our final pitch, how to deliver our final presentation in the steps of the sale. Who do you deliver it to? How do you deliver it? What settings you're going to be in. We're going to give you 3 points today that are going to help you on how you need to deliver that final pitch. This is close to the end of the steps of the sale, right before the close. This is everything that you worked for, everything that you've built up, the whole foundation throughout the sale. This is what it leads up to, and it's the final countdown, the final presentation. So we're going to talk today on how we deliver that. Okay, what method we choose to deliver the final presentation. The setting that you try to use, the word choice that you use, the sentence structure that you use, the environment that you can control, or to the best of your ability as a sales professional to control where you give that pitch. Whether you're golfing with your client, you're in a boardroom, who do you give it to? The directors, that one client. How do you deliver it over the phone? That final presentation. Okay, and how we deliver it is extremely important. As we talk about in some of the other videos too, guys, you have to understand is that the delivery method is almost more important than the content. Okay, right? They say it's that 90% of what you say as opposed to how you say it. And we'll talk about that. We talk about that in some of the videos below and some of the other descriptions on message delivery. But right now we need to talk about how do we deliver the final pitch? How do we give that grand presentation? We give that awe value, that shock value. So the 3 things that we're going to talk about today is excitement and confidence within your final pitch and how you deliver it. We're also going to talk about you making that final presentation, you yourself, okay, and what the significance is that as opposed to a team in place of you, right, as a sales professional. We're also going to talk about use all the qualifying points that we've built up with your client. We're going to talk a little bit about why this is so important, why this is important, how it makes into excitement and confidence. Now, when we present our final deal, okay, we need to present this, obviously with a sense of urgency. We need to present our final deal with a lot of confidence. We need to present our final deal with a lot of excitement. And if we're working for a company that doesn't have an exciting product, then it's your job to make that product exciting. You need to make sure that you're in a sales environment, just like we say we want to work in sales, we want to do this, we want to do that, but we want to make sure that we're working with a company and a product that you stand by. Something that you can get really excited about. And the benefits. We can focus on the carrot, right? The carrot in front of the rabbit, right? We're going to talk about all the plus points. We're not going to talk about any parts that are going to make the conversation negative. Yes, we're going to meet objections. We're going to address concerns during this presentation, but we're going to focus on the thing that we can control, okay, when we give our final presentation, and that's you. You have the choice when you can give that presentation as a sales professional, okay? And we want to make sure that when we do deliver that message, that we're in the right environment. We need to make sure that we're also in the right setting. We have the proper audience that they're willing to listen to you as well. We need to make sure that audience is also listening. That they're not in a situation where they're not retaining the information that you're picking up or the final pitch that you're laying down. And we also need to make sure that you're confident that you've done everything before in that process to lead up to the fireworks show. This is the grand finale, is your presentation, your final carrot, your final plus point, your final pitch, as you will, to the product that you're selling. So you need to make sure that you have excitement and that you have confidence. Now, if you don't have confidence, the only reason that a sales professional is not going to have confidence when they're giving their final pitch is that they haven't practiced enough. You haven't got in front of your product, you haven't read the brochures, the manuals, you haven't mastered the steps of the sale. You don't have confidence because you're going to get hit with a curveball from your client and you don't know how to overcome that. That's going to come with experience, but it's also going to come with role playing and a lot of practice. You need to make sure that you are confident when you're ready to give that presentation, and you need to be excited about it. Okay, as we know, just like we said before, is that people make decisions based off of emotion. And if they see how excited you are about your product and the confidence in the message that you're giving and how you're delivering this product to them, you're going to give your best presentation. Now, if you're not so hyped up today, if you're having a bad day, you bump your head, you say, shit, I stubbed my toe, I didn't get the coffee I wanted this morning, and you're going into a presentation, you need to make sure that your head is right. You need to make sure that you're excited. Like we said before, go back to your car, go in your office, shut your door, get hyped up, get excited about this presentation. You want to be empathetic with your customer, but you need to make sure that you're excited and you're confident when you give this final pitch. Okay, you're an actor, you're on screen, you're on camera, they're observing everything that you do, not just the product, but also how you deliver your message to them. How excited are you about this? How much rapport I built with them, how they're friends with me, and how excited their friend is now to give them a product that I've been trained on how to sell. So when I show excitement and I show confidence, your customer as a friend now is going to look back and say, man, yeah, Carson really thinks we should do this. And it's because he really does care and he's compassionate about his product. And I listened to every part of his presentation and we're going to do this, okay? The next thing is you need to make sure that you're giving the presentation. Now, this sounds a little weird for those of us that work in teams. If you've done a lot of the legwork, okay, a good part of this is turning a deal. Now, when you turn a deal to another sales manager, you turn a deal to another salesman, that's because it's not going so right in the beginning. You don't want to turn your final presentation. You don't want to give someone else an opportunity to take advantage of the work that you've done before. Now, why is this important? You need to give the sales presentation. You need to get in front of the board of directors that you've worked so hard to talk to. You need to get in front of that client on the golf course. You need to get in front of the person that you've worked so hard to take on a test drive with that car. People that you've been working with in insurance. You need to be the one that makes that final pitch. And if you don't have the time, you reschedule it. Okay, you get in front of the customer. You don't want to put someone else in front of with a different set of communication, different set of tools. They weren't there. They had a good breakdown. They received the report on your last sale. They received the report on the communication you had with your client, and they feel that they're confident enough to get in there and sell that deal for you, to get in front of that customer and take it over. That's great, but you're still missing out on a certain percentage of your closing ratio. You're going to lose part of these deals because you're the one that initiated that first point of communication, that first contact and that first rapport. So it's essential if you are working on a big deal, a small deal, anything that's going to add to your pipeline, or anything that you can take control of, you need to make sure that you're the sales professional that's giving that final presentation, okay? It makes the world of difference with your customer and your client, their decision-making process and how they're gonna respond to you. That doesn't even just play into rapport, but why would you want someone else taking your deal from you? Why not taking it, but why would you want them giving that information to your client? If you can, postpone that and tell your customer. The biggest thing with this is if you have to reschedule, you need to tell them why. You need to tell them that, tell them the truth. And the truth is that, Johnny's a confident guy. I really have faith in him. He can get in front of you and do the thing, but I really want to be the one that shows this to you guys. I've worked with you from the start. I know exactly what your pain points are, your pleasure points. He's been briefed, but at the end of the day, we have this relationship and we want to take care of that. The next thing that we need to focus on on how to deliver the message for a final pitch is that we need to use all the qualifying points that we've gathered up. And this is why some of these qualifying points are going to be personal. They're going to be whatever, so you don't want to let someone else, give your presentation for you. There's going to be these little things that make the world of difference. And it's only 1% of every deal that's closed off those little tiny things. And you'll notice, like we say, is that in a lot of sales professionals, they say, man, why is this one person doing everything that I'm doing, but they're getting the deals and I'm not? Well, it's those little tiny things that we talk about that's more of interpersonal communication, rapport building, and small little comments and personal statements that you make with your client that make the world of difference. And it's that little piece, that little content. So you need to make sure that when you're giving that presentation, you're going to use all of the qualifying points, both personal and business related, to help you give that final pitch. Now, what do I mean by that? So they're going to express certain concerns when you're qualifying them, both personal concerns and both this, and you need to bring them up. Now, even though you two discussed them, or you and the board discussed your pain points and those concerns that you met and those objections that they had, and you covered those, okay, when you give your final pitch, you need to make sure you repeat that. And that's the biggest thing, is that that's another fault within communication with sales professionals. I assume that we covered that earlier and it wasn't brought up, or I assume that we covered that pain point. I assume that, this and that, and that they know that. So I'm not going to bring it up in the final pitch, but it needs to be part of your qualification process. And the biggest thing is finding out what their biggest pain points are during the qualifying stage. And then when you deliver your final presentation, you need to bring that stuff up. You need to put it on the table. So that we're reminded of it. And even if that objection's already been covered, that concern's already been met, okay, we need to bring it up with the client to enforce that fact that those negative points are out of the way. And we're going to then follow up with a replacement. Follow up every time you meet a pain point. Follow up with a carrot. Follow up with with a qualifying point that you learned that's positive about your product. Okay, well this is exactly what you talked about before, and I know we covered that. So this is a perfect vehicle for this. This is the perfect processing program for this, where it was going to save you money, right? Or this is a perfect insurance plan where you said that your wife didn't get covered a certain way, you did with your comp plan, and we feel that this insurance plan kills that. Now we covered that earlier, but just to make sure we understood that was a big thing for you. The reason it started the conversation, or the initial conversation, was the fact that you were afraid that your wife was covered. We covered that earlier, but just to remind you, during your presentation, we need to bring up all the qualifying points, the most specific 3 top or 4 top points that your client, your board of directors all have concerns with. Now it's a little trickier, as you know, as if you're dealing with a board of directors or you're dealing with a group of people. You want to obviously give that presentation and go through as much of the sales process in front of them and all of them as possible, right? The decision maker or the decision makers all needs to be present during what you're doing. But we need to make sure that we bring up all the qualifying points. The more people, the more concerns, right? So you cover all of those. You hit all the points of the board of directors. John, you said this. We mentioned accounting had an issue with this, so we covered that, blah, blah, blah. So this is why I'm excited. I'm confident to bring you this product, and let me show you why. And you're going to go through your presentation, whether it's based off of savings, whether it's a product that you're selling, you're trying to bring the perceived value, and you're going to end that presentation. You're going to deliver it with excitement, confidence. You're going to do it yourself. You're going to bring up all the qualifying points so there's less concerns. You will still have concerns. You will still have objections. But the more that you cover in your process, the more that you learn from qualifying early on in the steps of the sale in that foundation, and the more that you bring that out with your customers and your clients, the less objections they're going to have. And then as simply as we kind of put it too, as we talked about in some of these other videos, closing is easy. You've done all the legwork before. You've built up the foundation. All you got to do is put the light at the top of the Christmas tree. Close that deal, right? It's very easy to do. Boop, just like that. So thanks again for joining us, guys. We got a lot of really good stuff covered here on how to deliver your final pitch, and I will see you next time. Thanks for joining us.